Okay, so Jason, you came here. You shared a story about April about the importance of finding out their why, right?
Buyer's
So
why, yeah, or the client's why.
the client's why.
Yeah.
It's important because we are not here to just buy and sell homes. These people, these are not unit of revenue. These are people. They are buying home. As you know, there's a lot of things going on in home. There are families. People are, husband and wife. Like in your story later on, Jason's gonna tell a story about the elderly family who cannot walk and stuff like that. So sometimes, because last month we booked 450 appointments, we closed about 80 transactions. So it's so easy, Jason, for us to look at these people as not as people,
yeah,
but as a transaction.
Right.
That's why we want to change that. In fact, in our team, how we measure our success, we don't want to talk about close of escrow. We don't want to talk about transaction because the tendency is to look at this like unit of revenue. Instead, we want to look at this. Our measurement of success now is the 3 R's: the number of reviews, the number of repeat clients, and the number of reviews, repeat clients, and referrals. Right, and the only way we can achieve the 3 R's is we need to look at people as people.
Right.
These are not transaction, right? And Jason just shared a really, really good story. If you missed today's Thursday 12 noon class, he just finished teaching the class, but then towards the end of the class, you shared about this story, and I thought that's really good. So tell the story. This is April, is the agent in our team who's working with this client. So what happened with this?
So April and I have a client. They own a townhome. They're selling the townhome. They actually have multiple offers right now. She got them $20,000 over list price, and they're in the process of, at the same time, purchasing a property. And so we started out the conversation about looking at their different options on not selling and doing a home equity line of credit and selling and what was best and payment scenarios. And initially, when I first spoke to the client, it was maybe a new purchase price of $550,000, high fives, low sixes. And by the time between then and the time I got their documents and their application, it then evolved into mid sixes and then eventually low $700,000 purchase price for a new home, right? And so essentially they came back to me, April and the client, and said, okay, well, we're in a multiple offer situation. Can we go any higher? So yes, she can go higher. She just has to switch loan products. So I set up a time to talk to the client to explain that to her. But yesterday morning when I set up a time to talk to her, as soon as she got on the phone, I briefly explained how we were able to get her approved for more, and her immediate response was basically almost like a panic. Like, how can I qualify for that much? Like, that doesn't seem right. I'm really nervous. I don't think I should be buying. I'm really concerned about I'm buying at the top of the market. All of these concerns, like complete opposite of the previous conversations and going up in price. Now she's going the complete opposite direction, pulling back. And so, we talked about the market and appreciation and what if it corrected and does it really matter because she wouldn't be selling even if the price dropped and those types of things. And we went through the numbers and I explained how we calculate debt to income ratios and we did all the technical stuff. But I could tell that once, I spent about 15 minutes or 20 minutes going through all that.
The first time you tell the story, the first 20 minutes, this is the second time Jason tells the story, but the first time you actually go really detailed. He's asking you a question about how much, about exact like payments and stuff like that, like
right.
Dollars and cents.
Yeah, we were getting super detailed on the technical side, the numbers, right?
Yeah.
The commodity side, really, right? Which is what we want to, we still have to answer those questions, but still we're not focusing on that, right? So I realized that even though I was giving her all of her answers and I was being thorough, it still wasn't, she was still on that ledge of being concerned. So I finally just said, her name's Stacy. I said, Stacy, let's just stop for a second. Let's stop, and I just want to ask you a question. Why are you selling your home, your townhome, and buying a new home? Like, why are you selling a townhome, buying a single-family residence? And I didn't say anything else. I just waited until she answered. So she proceeded to tell me about her daughter, who's a young teenager, and that in San Gabriel Valley, all of her family lives here, and the family supports the daughter and keeps her away from making poor decisions and doing bad things. She told me about her parents who also own a condo or a townhome, and that it's a 2-story. And her mom is diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and her dad has health issues, so they can't stay in a 2-story. And they can't move in with her in her current townhome because it's a 2-story, and so they have issues getting up and down. So she needs to be in the area for her daughter and the support. She needs to be in a single-family residence because she needs that for her parents. She wants her parents to sell their home, alleviate themselves from high expenses, use their retirement income to just live their life and do whatever they want. If they want to blow it on food or traveling or whatever it is, she wants to give that life to her parents like they gave to her when she was younger. She's the, knowing, as she's telling me this, she's pretty much the sole wage earner of the family, and so a lot of pressure's on her to support all of these people. And she commutes from San Gabriel Valley to Hollywood every day. So, being gone a lot and commuting, and her husband works in Hollywood as well, and he does projects. So a lot of times he will do a 2-month project and then take time off to be with the daughter because they don't want to lose that connection with her. It's very important to them. She went on to tell me that. So they felt like if they were both commuting to Hollywood every single day, they would lose contact with their daughter, and she might make some poor decisions. So there was multiple reasons why they were selling and buying. But the point is that, the whole scenario, if you will, started to kind of go sideways or south, and I just had to take a step back and find out what her why was. And she, instead of me convincing her that she should be buying, right, she basically explained to herself by explaining to me why, and reminded herself why she's buying, right?
And you just listen.
Yeah, and just listen. I didn't say.
And you actually care.
And then I told her, because she still had, even after that, she still had concerns. Well, I'm the primary sole breadwinner. What happens if something happens to me? And so, ironically, I could relate to her. I lived in Hollywood. I financed a ton of properties in San Gabriel Valley, so I truly do know the distance and the drive and how that works, right? My wife, when we lived in Hollywood, worked in Marina Del Rey, so the commute, even though it was 14 miles, was actually like an hour long. So I can relate to that. I'm the sole earner in my family, so I can relate to the concern of having 2 daughters, and if something happens to me, what would happen to my family? So I told her the things that I did by getting life insurance and a living trust, and why all those things, kind of are a backup if something happens to me, and how it protects my family. And just told her the things that I've personally done, because I have the same concerns that she has now.
You actually went in details, right, about $99.
And shared a personal experience. Yeah, and I told her, my life insurance policy is $99 a month. It's $1 million term policy. So for $3 a day, if something happens to me, I'm spending $3 a day, and my wife gets $1 million to pay off our house and our cars or whatever it is, right? And so I have that, that reassurance that, everything's not going to fall apart if I can't work anymore and make money.
And then you introduce her to the living trust.
A living trust, so that obviously if a spouse passes away, the other spouse doesn't want to deal with any of that. They're not thinking.
See, because you care about, so you are not looking at this customer as a unit of revenue. You recognize that this is a family, right? And you empathize, and then you share the solution. So we are not here to buy and sell homes. We are helping families to move from point A to point B. Do you know why every time we have our conference coming up at the end of August for 3 full days, like I'm bringing in the people that we use for tax planning, we bring in the best asset protection attorneys. The reason we are bringing this, number one, is for the agent in our team, because they themselves, but it's for these purposes, right? So I'm not bringing these people just for fun or just to kill time, because you will be in a situation like you now. If you are not aware of the solution, if you think you are in the business of just buying and selling homes, then you are missing out.
And usually their lack of to make a choice and make a definitive choice or move forward with something is because of lack of information or concern about something, right? So if you can provide them with that information, I think the actual house, the dwelling, is a commodity. That's just a byproduct of what we do.
Yeah.
It's what I talked about today.
So this is not a manipulative way. We are not manipulating people. What we are doing here, do you truly believe in our team mission, which is clients first? We are here to elevate. So the objective in our team is to elevate your lifestyle. And you cannot elevate your lifestyle if you don't even care about the people that, if I'm looking at you as a unit of revenue.
Just close and give me the paycheck.
Yeah. Then I don't care about you, then we move on to the next one, move on to the next one. And the people in our team, Jason, who's successful, who's making high 6-figure or net $1 million and stuff like that, is because their currency, meaning their measurement of success, is not the number of closing, but how can I get more reviews? How can I get more repeat clients? How can I get them to refer more family and friends to me? And the only way you can achieve the 3 R's is if you care about people as people, right? Yep. And then, so the learning, anything else? I think that's the story. Julio, am I missing something?
No.
Okay, so the biggest takeaway is this. Number one, always start with why. Start with why. And then second step is how, right? And then the third step is the what. The how is simple. It's basically our VIP buyers or VIP sellers benefits, and then the what is the how. So, but if you don't start with why, if Jason, if you didn't actually ask that question just now, you would have lost. Like, there was a true well, not only from a selfish perspective, from our perspective, we lost 2 transactions, but from the bigger perspective, you actually cheating these clients. These people, if you didn't ask that question, Jason, guess what happened? Her parents would have still...
Yeah, think about that. It's someone who's not even an actual client, it's her parents. I mean, maybe she backs out. Maybe they end up suffering and staying in their home and going up and down the stairs.
It could be a disservice to the client.
Yeah, if I have that information, whether they take me up on it or not, but be able to let her know, the capabilities of a living trust and, how inexpensive...
What kind of sickness you said just now?
Fibromyalgia.
What is that?
I think it's something to do with, like your...
I don't know. It sounds scary.
It's the heart. No?
It's actually nerves. Basically, your hands start shaking, and you eventually just die because your heart is not communicating.
So that's why that's why they want to live in a 1-story home instead of the second
It's
story.
just more stress on their body to go up and down. Right?
I see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? So this is not about you. This is not about the number of transactions. So if you don't care about people, if you don't ask this kind of question, you are actually cheating, robbing the clients.
But I think it's hard to do. What I was saying too is, in this system, there's so many leads and there's so many opportunities, and so even I get caught up in like, okay, get through this call, let's get them through the program, let's explain it, let's go on to the next one. I'm even guilty of that. So this is almost my way of reminding myself, like even I need to slow down and find out the why, right? Because we all get caught up, especially in this process. Like, it's not like this in every real estate office, but there's so many leads and so many opportunities. You're kind of just like, oh, how do I get onto the next one so I can get to the next VIP appointment or what have you? But you really are like almost taking a step back to really take a step forward.
Yes. So there's an unintended consequences. Be very careful as you are face to face with the clients. This is not about you. This is not about the people who's face to face with you. The moment you find out their why, right? Yeah. You are actually impacting the lives of many. So that's why be very careful in what we do here. So so that's good, man. Thanks for sharing.
You bet.
So August, at the end of August, 3 full days, Jason, we're gonna have. I'm actually bringing somebody who specializes in DIST personality. 3 hours full training. People are paying thousands of dollars for this. She'll be here live. And then I'm bringing one of my friend, top coach from Philadelphia. He's gonna fly in here. He's actually want to see what we do. I told him, hey, rather than you see what we do,
tell us what you do.
Yeah, let's just make you work as well. He said, sure, no problem.
You're not gonna tell us what you do.
Yeah. So it's okay. So the day before he's gonna be here. Warren Flax is he hosts his own radio show. Very smart guy, a graduate from Wharton Business School. Yeah, he's a very sharp guy. But then so he's gonna be here. All of our attorneys, asset protection attorneys, we bring him from Vegas. He's the one who set up our own structure, all of my structure here. So he's gonna come in here. And so we have all kind of, so at the end of August 29th, 30th and 31st, then obviously you can set up your little booth there at the back. Perfect. Right? Okay, and